Madam President, earlier this afternoon, I spoke about the many important provisions in this Veterans Bill that came out of the Veterans Committee. The fact that we worked as hard as we could to make it bipartisan, the fact that there are many, many provisions in this bill that came from Republican members, the fact that some other provisions in this bill were passed almost unanimously by the Republican House of Representatives, indicating very strong bipartisan support. But what I also said is that while I believe the American people understand the full cost of war and understand the sacrifices made by veterans and their families, what they also believe is that when you have a piece of legislation, an important piece of legislation, on the floor dealing with the needs of millions and millions of veterans and their families, whether it is health care, whether it's dental care, whether it's sexual assault and how we address that issue, whether it is the fact that some over 2,000 veterans have lost their ability to have kids and what we can do to make it possible for them to have children, whether it is the fact that you have tens of thousands of families in this country where loved ones are taking care of disabled vets who need some support, and we have the need to expand the Caregivers Act, whether it is the fact that we have some young people who are eligible to use the post-9/11 GI Bill but are unable to do it because they cannot get in-state tuition, whether it is the issue of advanced appropriation and making sure we never again find ourselves in a position that we did a few months ago when the government was shut down and where disabled veterans were a week, 10 days away from losing the checks that they depend upon. I think there is widespread support in America for that bill, for the understanding that we do owe the men and women who have put their lives on the line to defend us a debt of gratitude that can never be fully repaid. But we've got to do our best. We've got to make life as good as we can for those who were injured in war. We've got to protect the hundreds of thousands who came back from Iraq and Afghanistan with PTSD or traumatic brain injury. But whatever one may think of the bill, Madam President, whether you like the bill or you don't like the bill, you think the bill's too expensive, you think we should have done more, the one thing I think most Americans understand is that it is totally absurd to be bringing forth extraneous issues into a debate on veterans' needs in order to kill the bill. So I say to my colleagues exactly what the majority leader said this morning. If you have amendments dealing with veterans' issues, we welcome them. And we have a number of Democrats who have come forward with amendments. We have some Republicans who have come forward with amendments. We welcome amendments that are relevant, germane to the needs of veterans. What we do not welcome are extraneous amendments that are designed only for partisan political reasons, exactly the process that the American people are disgusted with today. Now, interestingly enough, that is my view. I mentioned earlier today that the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America just sent out a tweet yesterday, and this is what they said. And these are the folks who represent those who served us in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they said, and I quote, "The Senate should not get distracted while debating and voting on the vets bill. Iran sanctions, Obamacare, etc., aren't relevant to S. 1982, which is the veterans bill we're dealing with today." And that's what the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, they said, focus on veterans' issues, which I think is a very simple request and the one that should be heeded. But today, just a little while ago, we heard from the largest veterans organization in America, and that is the American Legion, which represents 2.4 million members. And the American Legion is the largest veterans organization in this country. I suspect they have chapters. I know strong in Vermont. I suspect strong in Hawaii, strong all over this country. And this is what the American Legion National Commander Daniel M. Dellinger said today. And what he said, and I quote, is that Iran is a serious issue that Congress needs to address, but it cannot be tied to S-1982, which is extremely important as our nation prepares to welcome millions of U.S. military servicemen and women home from war. This comprehensive bill aims to help veterans find good jobs, get the health care they need, and make in-state tuition rates applicable to all who use their GI Bill benefits. This legislation is about supporting veterans, pure and simple. The Senate can debate various aspects of it, and that's understandable. But it cannot lose focus on the matter at hand, helping military personnel make their transition to veteran life and ensuring that those who serve their nation in uniform receive the benefits they earned and deserve. We can deal with Iran or any other issue unrelated specifically to veterans with separate legislation, end of quote. And I think Commander Dellinger hit the nail right on the head. And what he is saying, fine, we can debate Iran at some point. We can debate Obamacare. I mean, it's going on day after day after day. Do anything we want to do. But this is a bill that deals with veterans' issues. And I thank the American Legion not only for their support, and they, along with virtually every other veterans organization in the country, supports this legislation. VFW, the DAV, the Vietnam vets, the Iraq-Afghanistan Veterans of America, just dozens of organizations. But I thank the American Legion in particular today for their statement in making it clear that our job is to debate a veterans bill, not kill this bill because of an extraneous issue like Iran sanctions.